Hi everyone. This is a really hard post to write, but it feels therapeutic to write this out. Hopefully, I can get some advice along the way. My wife and I have been married for almost 10 years. We're both in our mid-30s. A few years ago, she decided she wanted to go back to college and get her master's degree. We both thought it was a good idea. Our married life was great, and we were both very happy. It was the happiest I had ever been. When she started going back to school, life obviously got busier because she had more on her plate. After a few months, her behavior started to change. She'd stay out later than normal to study at the university library, or she'd meet up with people from class for various projects. Sometimes she'd forget something at the office and have to go get it, even though it was late. I had a feeling something was off, but I had no proof. Everything she said made sense. Sometimes I would verify things or try to find inconsistencies, but nothing. Everything seemed normal. I just thought I was being paranoid. One Saturday morning, I sat down to check my emails. We share a home computer, which she sometimes uses for homework. I noticed she forgot to log out of her account from the night before. Before logging her out, I saw tons of emails from one person. I didn't recognize the name. So I went to her Facebook and Instagram accounts to see if she was friends with this guy. Nope. So I Googled him, and it turned out it was her college professor. He was in his 50s, married, and had 3 teenage kids. It looked like he was happily married. I was relieved and didn't think much else about it. The emails seemed innocent. I remember when I was in college, I emailed back and forth with professors all the time. From then on, I never noticed anything suspicious. Again, I thought I was being paranoid. Some time went by and life got easier. She was really hitting her stride with school, and she wasn't as stressed or busy anymore. We had more time together, and we started building a house. Life was essentially on cruise control, until the nightmare began. It was a Thursday, and I decided to come home early and surprise her because I wanted us to go out for dinner at this new place that just opened. As I was driving down our street, I noticed a car pulling out of my driveway. We passed each other, and I immediately recognized the guy. It was her old college professor. So I immediately went inside the house and found my wife standing in the kitchen wearing just a towel. She was so stunned that she didn't even know what to say. Like she was fumbling her words, asking me why I was home. I immediately asked why her professor had just left our house and why was she in a towel. She told me I was overreacting and nothing had happened. So I went straight up to her bedroom and she tried to stop me. When I got to her room, it was obvious what had happened. I told her I was going to contact his wife if she didn't tell me everything. Finally, she broke down and admitted it all. They had been having an affair on slash-off for 3 years. She said it started the semester after she left his class. But she claimed that she was brainwashed by him, and that she didn't really want to do it. She said he was in a position of power, even though he wasn't her professor anymore, and claimed she was manipulated into a sexual relationship over a 3-year period. It's been a week since I found out. I moved my stuff out that next morning when my wife was at her parents' house, and I contacted a divorce attorney. I feel like a zombie. None of this even seems real. My wife has been texting, calling, and emailing me nonstop asking for forgiveness and a second chance. Her family's trying to contact me as well to convince me to give her another shot. Today, I finally blocked her on everything and her family. Fortunately, I have a great support system, and everyone has been super helpful. I'm going to schedule an appointment with a therapist next week so I can get the ball rolling. I know it will take time to heal, and I know I deserve better. Sorry for the long post. I really needed to get this off my chest. OP, I guarantee you that he was her professor while she was studying. I would inform the institution's ethics committee. She got her master's in sex, not in a field of study. His wife should know. Infidelity thrives on silence. That which happens in the dark should be revealed in the light. Do not let her drive the narrative. A married professor should not engage in any sexual conduct with students past and present. Since she claims he brainwashed her, she should report this and all the activities that led her to believe this. He is supposedly a sexual predator brainwashing students. I would personally go and see him and with his senior play a recording of your wife making these allegations. If your wife wants to reconcile, she should at a minimum out him by giving a statement and cooperating with the investigation into his conduct. She should lead the charge in telling the wife of this man. Since she was brainwashed, she should lay a criminal charge of rape. She was brainwashed, so there was no consent. But I can guarantee you she will do nothing. She banged this old guy to get her master's, and she tried to limit the fallout. By outing her, you will nuke their relationship and show both they are wrong. Get STD tested. Just read of another couple who, after infidelity, tested positive for HIV. Best of luck to you, OP. Now let's get into today's second story. I've been living in a nightmare for more than 2 weeks now. I don't know what to do and am absolutely desperate for advice, which is why I'm posting this. I'll start at the beginning. Apologies for the long post. My wife, 41, has been having an affair with one of my best friends. I would call him my second best friend, for a year. We have 4 children, 2 of whom are autistic, and we've been married for 17 years. She is Canadian but lives with me in England on a marriage visa. My wife and my friend have been getting very close for a few years now, as they have shared interests at going to the theater together, going to comedy clubs, drinking, partying, etc. They are both extroverts and enjoy having a good time, whereas I am more introverted and prefer to stay at home. He also has children, 2 boys, aged 8 and 12, and our families have known each other and been incredibly close for about 14 years. My wife and I have had a great marriage. We have always felt that we were meant for each other. However, over the years, I've sometimes had a few problems performing in bed, which my wife usually responded quite negatively about, which made me feel worse about it. I'm probably also not quite as overly affectionate with her as she would like. I am definitely affectionate, compliment her, buy her flowers every so often, etc., but I know that she would want more than I give her on this front. Otherwise, our marriage has been genuinely fantastic, and I am in shock that this has happened. About 2 weeks ago, I saw a message pop up on her phone that she'd left on the couch. It was from my friend saying how beautiful she was and how he was still thinking about the last time they were intimate. When I saw this message, I was so confused and shocked, and I kept trying to convince myself that it must have meant something else. But because I was suspicious, I checked her Maps timeline data that night while she was sleeping, and there was very damning evidence. The following night, I mustered all my courage and challenged her about it. She denied it over and over, gaslighting me, and then I showed her my evidence, and only then did she finally admit it. I begged her for the full truth, and she gave me a version of events that was, I later found out, very watered down. It took about 5 more days to get the full story, and that was mainly from my friend, who decided to come clean with me and his own wife, who I had to tell, and she had no idea either. She was absolutely devastated, screaming, crying, etc. All in all, they had sex 7 times, with the time between the 5th and 6th time lasting about 5 months, and the whole affair lasting 13 months. They also kissed, held hands, and did much more whenever they had the chance of privacy in between, even when the families were together. It's also worth saying that their affair started about a week after I found out that my mom had been diagnosed with cancer and would need some invasive treatments, surgery, chemo, etc., and therefore I was scared about the prospect of losing her. My wife's dad died a few years ago, and so did my friends, and I of course stood by them both and supported them fully during this. It also turns out that she had told my friend and his wife about my performance issues, and that she had called me dull and boring. All this talking behind my back also really hurt me, as I'd never said anything about our sex life to anyone, and never said anything bad about her behind her back. On the contrary, I have been her biggest supporter. The boring comment upset me because I work really hard for the family, and I'm involved in a lot of community and political work, which I feel is anything but boring. But I suppose she meant in the sense of not enjoying clubbing, drinking, partying, and being mediocre in bed. Now I don't know what to do. Should I separate from her, divorce her, or try to reconcile and fix our marriage? She wants me to go to therapy and for us to go to couples therapy, both of which I've agreed to. I'm scared to separate and especially divorce, because it would devastate my children who are still quite young, 5, 7, 10, 12, and my 2 autistic children would find the changes to their lives particularly distressing. I am also worried about living a lonely life. I'm the kind of person that needs a partner around me, as I get lonely fairly easily. I worry about things like getting ill alone or having an accident. I'm also 45 years old and not particularly attractive, whereas she is very attractive and would probably find someone else much more easily than me. There's also the fact that I still deeply care for her, and I already miss the life we had so much. The kids still don't know anything, and we're still living together, but our marriage is only what I can describe as in limbo. She assures me that she has never cheated on me with anyone else, although she does admit that she can drink too heavily sometimes when she is out to the point where she is flirting with other people, but she maintains that she knows never to cross the line. And that it only happened with my friend because they developed a strong closeness over the years. But she is telling me that he will never speak to him again, that she's desperately sorry, and that she wants to be with me. So, I need advice, desperately. I'm a total mess and just don't know what to do. Should I work on the marriage for the sake of stability for the children and the hope that we can get back to where we were before and to avoid the fear of being alone? Or should I separate and slash or divorce, which would have been financial consequences for me also? I've only given the abridged version here, so if you have any questions about any of the details or anything else, then I'll try to elaborate. Thanks so much. OP, if she had true remorse, she would fully confess and answer any questions you ask truthfully and fully without being defensive. Of course, she wants to be with you. What other options does she have at the moment, since it would appear her affair partner is unavailable now? It is likely she is more concerned about how this will affect her life than how she has damaged you. Know that your marriage is dead. She killed it. If you stay together, you will have to build a new relationship. Be a bit wary of the therapists. Some will try to justify her actions by blaming you or the marriage. You can't make someone love you, and you can't make someone cheat. Cheating is 100% on the cheater. Remember that this was a full-blown relationship complete with dating. She has a ton of work to do on herself to become a safe partner. She has shown repeatedly that her words cannot be trusted. You need therapy, but she needs it worse. She needs to get to the true issues that allowed her to do this. She is the one that needs to drive the reconciliation if that is the route you choose. I would delay the couple's therapy for a while. They can be notorious blame shifters and rug sweepers. They are also only useful after you have decided for certain that you want to offer the gift or reconciliation. As you work through this, find the path that you think will lead to your greatest happiness. An unhappy parent in an unhappy marriage does no favors for the children. They are incredibly perceptive. Hope you are able to heal from this situation, OP. Thank you for taking the time to listen to today's stories. If you enjoyed listening, please feel free to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Also, comment below with your thoughts on today's stories. Take care, everyone.